I am super excited today because I have John Moran here with me. John is the founder of the Pineapple Cove Classical Academy. He is going to tell us all about his schools here in Brevard County, how they differ from public schools, what they offer, what they do for the kids, and how he got started in education. So, John.
Thank you.
Tell us how you got started in education.
Well, I'm not an educator. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman, and I've been in retail for most of my life. I travel quite a bit around the country, and this one morning I was sitting out in D.C. I was sitting in a Home Depot, and I was listening to a radio station, and it was a gentleman down in Australia that was opening these daycares in Australia, and before you know it, he had hundreds of them, and he went public with them. So I said, I could do that. Why not? And so I...
Did you like kids?
No, I had nothing. No, I didn't. I mean, I had three girls, but
yeah.
But I mean, me and kids, it was strictly a business.
Okay.
It was strictly, I was going to put this building up, put some doors in it, playground in the back, hire a bunch of teachers, and that was it.
Okay.
But so we finally did it. It took a couple of years to do that. I had to talk my partners into it, and hired some consultants, and I got to learn the business, got that going, and
that was
here. That was in Brevard County.
Okay. Yep.
And then I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the kids, the parents, the community we built.
Then you liked the kids.
And then I liked the kids. So that's how it kind of started. And then in our VBK program, we brought in one of the teachers that was a parent at our school. She worked with our VBK kids and our teachers, and our scores were up to 98% when they went into kindergarten.
Wow.
They scored. So they did really well.
Good. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were ready for first grade, and they were getting in trouble. So the parents came back to me and said, John, you need to open up a school. And I was like I said before, I'm not an educator. Right. And it took me 6 years to finally open it.
Wow.
We hired some consultants. We failed the first 2 years, and I was done with it. I was done opening a charter school, and I had a parent walk by the office, and she said, John, what's wrong? And I said, I'm done with this charter school business. Yeah. Well, she was a parent with 2 kids in our preschool, and she wouldn't stand for that. So she basically yelled at me, you're opening a charter school there. And so that's what happened. And so she goes, I know somebody. And she worked at the local college. Yeah. And she brought her in, Miss Kelly, and that at the same time, another parent was telling me about Hillsdale College. Hillsdale is a classical school up in Michigan, and they were trying to open up these classical schools throughout the country. Yeah. So I called them. They came down. They interviewed us. They helped Kelly write the charter. Okay. It ended up being one of the best charters that the county's ever read. That's what we were told. Yeah. And then we hired a principal, and Kelly was pretty much out of the picture. And so, when the principal that we had hired to come open the school, she emailed me and said she's not going to take the job. So I said, God. Huh. So I took a ride over.
Right before you're ready to open?
No, it was months before, but I had time. But so I took a ride over to the college where Miss Kelly was working. And I asked the girls at the front desk, where is she? She was a professor at the school. Yeah. And I went into her office and I said, you're going to be the principal. And that's how it worked out. And her eyes got really big, and then she goes, I got to think about it. I said, there's nothing to think about. You wrote the charter, you understand it. Yeah. So she did, and she came on board, and she was the principal. That teacher that was helping tutor the VBK kids, I had to talk her into coming in as assistant principal. And they all, she belonged to a union. She was working there 15 years. And she was like, what are you, crazy? You have nothing. Yeah. So she ended up coming on board. Quick story, I every now and then would drive the school bus to pick the kids up after school. And I would show up I would always go to the gym before I went there. And I'd forget that I had to drive the school bus that day. And I get a phone call from the preschool, John, you're supposed to be riding the bus. So I was late all the time.
Oh, my God.
So I'd show up at her school. She had about 50 of her kids. Yeah. And it's 90 degrees outside, and she's standing outside for another half hour with 50 crazy kids. And I said, and after I got them on the bus, I look at her and sweat dripping down her face, and I said, and you're coming with me. And she looked at me like I'm out of my mind. Well, she's the principal of our first school. And we're open now 10 years.
And is that what what grades does that do?
That goes K to 12.
Oh, K to 12.
So the Hillsdale people, we learned about classical education, which is incredible education. Our schools in the States, we used to teach that.
Yeah, so what is that? Because that was something, like, I really don't understand. So, like, I went to public school, except for, like, preschool. I went to Holy Trinity preschool.
Yeah.
And then I went to public school. And I don't know anything about I don't even really know what a charter school is. Like, I don't really understand. I mean, I know we have them and that you have to, like, apply. But there's not a fee for a charter school.
There's no fee. It's considered a public school.
Is your school considered a public school?
We're a public school,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So you're able to, anybody, again, anywhere they live, they could come to our school. We have people on Beachside that drive there. Okay. In fact, she's she's one of my board members now.
Okay.
So wonderful people. You're allowed to tweak the education. Okay. As long as you go by the guidelines of the state. Okay. But the guidelines for the state are here, and we teach at this level. So we teach above that. It's basically like going to a private school for free.
Okay.
That's it. So we have 2 schools now in Palm Bay. Yeah. And they're A schools, all A schools. We have 3 altogether, 1 in West Melbourne, 2 in Palm Bay, and they're all A schools. And our kids are outscoring the state and the county.
It's amazing.
Kindergarten, we teach Singapore math, which is the top math in the world.
I don't even know what that is.
And again, I'm not an educator. I'm just telling you what we teach. But
I have to go Google that.
Yeah, it's the top math of the world. It's incredible. So they're able to understand it, and we also teach phonics. Okay. So our kids in kindergarten are reading words at a 4th grade level. Okay. They might not know the meaning of the word, but they can pronounce it and spell it. Oh, so it's incredible. And so our scores are just off the charts with that. So they start in kindergarten. In 1st grade, they take that education. They continue it all throughout through high school. We teach Latin. Every child has to take Latin.
And is that part of the college, like the how
college?
They set it up?
Yeah, they set up a program. The classical. We take that model and we bring it into our school. Okay. And I got to tell you, the bar is raised, and we don't have one bus in our 3 schools. Not one bus. We have them for sports, but not to pick up kids. Yeah. And we have every school is filled. It's filled with a waiting list of about 3,000 to 4,000 kids on a waiting list that want to get into the schools.
And there's sports. You said there's sports?
We have sports. We have basketball, all the same sports. We don't do football. We're doing flag football. Yeah. But we have soccer, track, basketballs, volleyball, all the typical sports that. Okay. And we're also building in the near future a community pool. So we're gonna do a 50-meter a swim pool that the schools in the area will be able to use. And we'll do competition, and with that, we're going to put a water park in the back part for the young kids. So they could parents and community can use it during the summertime, on the weekends when the school's not being using it. They're able to come in and use the facility.
Well, that's really cool. So what is your like expanding in Brevard County? Is there, because you're all in the south end, right? Pretty much.
Palm Bay. We have 2 schools. We have West Melbourne.
So a little central West Melbourne to south.
Well, Palm Bay is growing pretty fast. Yeah, and the demand is there, and we have a good reputation among the neighbors, and so I'm looking to do another one down in the Heritage Parkway. Okay, and possibly another one on Emerson and Heritage. Wow. So,
and are those going to be the full thing, like kindergarten?
We're going to probably do a K-8 on Emerson. Okay, this is all up in the air still. But it's something that I like to do. Yeah. So it's fun.
Very exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting.
And the kids, are they prepping for college? Is it like something where you say these kids who come here, this is sort of like college prep? Or is it
it's basically a college prep school from day one. Yeah. Okay. Let me just go back to the kindergartens. You can have 100 kindergartners in our hallway. Yeah. Going to the cafeteria or using the bathroom or whatnot. Yeah. And we could have a conversation like this. There's no noise. They're very regimental.
Yeah.
They have uniforms, full uniforms. They earn their tie in middle school.
Oh, they earn a tie?
Earn a tie to get to middle school. So, and they have to earn a high school tie.
Wow.
So,
the girls have to wear ties?
No, they don't. But they have uniforms they have to wear too.
I just wondered. I was like, yeah.
Well, they get the little bows.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, they don't have to wear.
Well, it's a question we need to know.
Of course, every woman needs to know that. But in high school, going back to college prep, in 12th grade, in order to get out of and to get your degree, you have to write a dissertation.
Oh, wow.
And so every child that's graduating has to read a classical novel.
Wow.
And write a 30-page paper on it, on what is the good life.
Okay.
We had one young lady last year read War and Peace.
Oh, my
and told
gosh.
us what is the good life about War and Peace.
Oh, my
So
God.
it's really amazing. So it's really neat. So we had one girl. I was there last year, and I was listening to her do her speech. Not only did they have to present, they have to present in front of some of the town officials.
Yeah.
And then parents sit in the back, and I sit in the back too and listen. We had one girl who started at the preschool, shy as can be.
Yeah.
She gets into our school because starting in kindergarten, they're reading poetry. And they get in front of the class and they recite the poetry. So they know hundreds of poems by the time they graduate. So this carries right through the school. They all read classical novels. They don't read the chapters that are being tested on the test. They read the full novel from cover to cover, and that makes us different. Another thing that makes us different too is when the state testing comes up, usually January.
Yeah, I was going to ask about
the whole
that.
county starts prepping for these kids to take their test.
Yeah.
We didn't even bring it up. We talk about it a week before the test.
So you don't teach to the test?
No.
There's no teaching to the test?
No teaching to the test. We keep teaching. So our kids are still learning those. They're not wasting time on learning the test.
But they have to take the test because they're state required. Okay.
The week before they take the test, we let them know, oh, by the way, you're taking a test next week. And they go, okay. They're not uptight. They're not nervous about it. I remember my girls going to school.
Yeah.
They were uptight for months about taking this test. They
Yeah.
just go in, take the test, and we outscore the county and the state by 20, 30 points.
See, that's amazing.
Because they're first of all, they're relaxed.
Yeah.
And they're still learning.
Yeah.
They're not taking that time up learning the test. They're still learning real history and Latin and reading the novels from cover to cover. It takes time, and then they the history is incredible. We talk about American history.
How do you keep the kids from being I guess in public school they don't have the same control because I feel like kids are very unruly. Unruly. There was a word there somewhere. You know it's coming. Unruly. Like, how do you keep the kids from being unruly?
So it's when we first opened up, we did a K-6.
Yeah.
We originally, Hillsdale would like us to do a K-12, but I said, first I have to learn the business.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could take somebody out of high school and bring them into our type of school environment. Plus, we had to learn the business.
Yeah.
All the teachers came from public school. They had to relearn classical education. It's so different than the public school education. They got readjusted in at early ages.
Yeah.
And then they followed that through middle school and then high school. It's funny. We just expect it's a job. We tell them it's a job to be here, and your teacher is your role model.
Yeah.
They recite the Pledge of Allegiance every morning.
Yeah.
And
we did that growing up. Do they not do that anymore?
I don't think they do it so much anymore.
Oh,
yeah. And
terrible.
then in one of my schools, the Latin teachers, he loves Latin.
Yeah.
He goes to the elementary schools and they recite it again in Latin.
Oh, wow.
So it's really neat. And the kids, you can walk through the hallways, and if you're walking across them, they'll stop and let you pass.
Ah.
They're very respectful, and that's part of their education.
Yeah. I love
they have
that.
good virtues. Values are right there. Hillsdale College is a Christian school.
Yeah.
But of course we can't bring that into it. But we can bring the values of that.
Okay.
It comes, and that's what we teach our kids at a young age.
That's cool.
So our kids are doing. They're comfortable. You know.
Do you have like a department that helps the kids? This is just a question I have. Like, let's say they're in, I don't know when you really start that, but 11th. Like when I was in public school, they didn't do anything to help kids like prepare to do like college essays, or what colleges might you want to go to, or anything like that?
We do all of that.
You do all of that?
Oh, yeah. We have counselors that work with our kids. But there's writing a dissertation in 12th grade. Yeah. It's already doing college work. Yeah. And they can do it. Yeah. And it's amazing what they do. Oh, I was going back where I was talking about this young girl. Yeah. She did her dissertation last year, and she was shy as can be. But because of the poetry and getting in front of the classroom at kindergarten all the way through high school, she got up there and she even talked about that. I was shy, I was this. And she spoke better than me. Yeah. I mean, she got up there comfortable as can be. She talked about her dissertation. She reflected on it, and then she defended it.
Oh,
because they were asked questions from some officials. And you'd be a nervous wreck as a 12th grader. But
I'd be a nervous wreck today. Don't be asking me questions.
Yes, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
That's cool, though. I love that. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back for episode 2. Yeah?
Okay.
I'm going to ask John, I'm going to grill John with some more questions. So
can't wait.
Stay tuned to the next episode. We'll be back.